Alright guys, JD with JD's Wraps. Here's the second video in the series. This one is going to be on how to remove the chrome trim from the doors, and then also up here, the A-pillar trim. It goes all the way to right here. This isn't very hard, it's relatively straightforward. We'll kind of cover everything that you need to know. You do need two tools for this. You're going to need a T15 Torx and then also a pry tool of some kind. So we'll start here with the window chrome. Basically what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to open the door, and the key to this, you know, at least out here in Arizona, we have some pretty sticky gaskets. So you're going to have a rubber seal that kind of lines the bottom, and what happens out here at least, or if you live in hot climate, is that melts a little bit and it will actually stick to the car. So that's kind of the hardest thing that makes this, the hardest thing with getting this off is that part right there. But essentially what you'll do is you want to go in here on the back, and you can see the bottom edge of this right here. I like to get my finger kind of under here, and then that's where you're going to want to get it started. So you're going to kind of press up right here, and then at the same time you're going to put your pry tool in here, and you're going to kind of pry up on the chrome, not against the car, against the chrome itself. So this kind of happens at the same time. So try to get the camera on this so you guys can kind of see. But essentially you're going to go in. I'm going to kind of stick my fingers underneath that seal back here, and then I'm going to get in with the tool right about an inch in, and then I'm just going to slowly, gently start to pry it up. And you can see that it's starting. So I just move slowly. Probably easier to roll down the window, especially on the front one. So then once you get it started, from there it's really easy. You just kind of jimmy it, and then you lift from the back, pry and lift, and then notice how I'm moving my left hand forward. Every time I pry it up, you're going to want to move your left hand in position, so that way you're not going to bend it, because these bend very easily, and you want to avoid that. So come to the other side, maybe you get a better look from here. I'm just pulling, I'm gently prying, but again, I'm not prying on the paint, and then boom, comes out. Super simple. Might as well do the back while we're here. So let's go ahead and shift over to the back. Back is the exact same. Roll down the window. You have the same exact lip on the back here. So you get my finger in there, and then just gently pry. These are actually coming out pretty easily, which is always nice. Once you get it started, you're pretty much good. Just pry gently, take your time, not worth breaking. They're not the most expensive part. I've had to replace one before. I think it was 30 to 50 bucks. Not the biggest deal. All right, so that's those, super easy. Now, to get this A-pillar chrome out, a little bit different, especially on the Model Y. It's a little bit different than it is on the Model 3. Couple more steps. So basically where we're gonna start here is to get this pulled down. And where I like to start is up here in this corner. So you can see there's a little lip. You're gonna wanna get your finger underneath this lip right here, kind of in the corner, and then just kind of wiggle and pull down. Bam. That'll all come out, and it's okay if it gets a little loose. I try to keep it in this position as much as possible, just so it's not flapping everywhere. The next part's a little more difficult. So now that you have kind of gotten that part out, what you're going to want to do is go on to this second kind of like interior lining, and this one is wedged in here a lot more than the first one. So you kind of get from the back here, and you're going to pull down. It just comes out. Bam. On the Model Y, this comes all the way out. So what I mean by that is once you start pulling the other side, this whole thing will kind of come out and be loose, but we'll talk about what to do to kind of anchor that. All right, so now that you've gotten that out, you'll see the goal, which is now these screws. There's 5 on this side, usually. Of course, there's 6 now. Sometimes there's a little plug. So usually there's a plug right here. It'll be a black cap little snap plug. It looks like they've put a screw in on this side instead. So that's this side. And then guys, going back over to the other side, same exact thing. Start up in the corner, get your finger underneath here, kind of pull on this side, and then just gently kind of pull it down. Small side note, you can see that the interior right here is gray. If you have dirty hands, you will get that on the interior of the car. So a lot of these Teslas have white interiors, gray on the inside. You're gonna just have to kind of mind that. Same thing as before, get your finger up here, slowly pull this down. It pulls all the way out like we were talking about. You can see here, so it's just kind of dangling, pulls all the way out. And for now, you can just leave it there. So I'm gonna go ahead and set the camera down and I'm gonna work on these bolts. Again, they're T15 and there's 8 of them. So you got 3, let me just show you these. Looks like we got 1, I see what they did here, 1, 2, and then they put that little black plug right there. So that's the only one that really needs to snap out, which I'll show you. So let's go ahead and get these clips out, these bolts out. That does need to be snapped. Apologize if I'm blocking, but honestly there's really nothing to see. It's just unscrewing these T15s. Really easy. Because this is clipped in, like I showed you, that black clip, you don't have to worry too much about this flinging around as you unscrew it. It may come out right here, but it's pretty much anchored in, so it's not too much of a concern. Small side note, if the air conditioning is running in the Tesla itself, it will cause the fans to run in the front area. So what that does is it heats up your garage. So if you're working in a garage like I am and you open the thing, you know, it may feel good that you're getting the air conditioning from the interior of the car, but ultimately that front is running fans and it's going to pump a bunch of heat out into the area that you're working in. So garage, shop, same rules apply. Just go in, turn the air conditioning off, and you won't have that issue. All right, so I've removed all the bolts. I keep calling them bolts. All the screws, let's just make sure that they're removed. I didn't miss any. All right, now, what we're gonna wanna do here is basically just pull it out. I'm gonna kind of put one hand on this side, one hand over by this pin, and just kind of give it a little bit of a pull, and it should just come out. And again, like we talked about, this is gonna be loose, so let's go ahead and just gently, safely kind of pull that out and set it down. Again, I'll show you what I do there. And then you have the chrome that is out. Let's take a look at what this looks like. So here's the chrome piece right here. Pretty cool. And now you can get deep into this A-pillar. Full coverage, you don't have to worry about tucking in there, which sucks. It makes life a lot easier, especially on a white Model Y, night and day. We had talked about tips, so here's what I do with this seal. Take your typical, you want to kind of keep it in the same spot as much as possible. So what I mean by that is kind of like feed it into where it's supposed to go. And then I just take green tape. 2 strips usually works. And I'll anchor one at the top, just go over. And then I'll put another piece for reinforcement. And this does a pretty good job of keeping it there while I'm wrapping the car. And then the rest of it, kind of do this sort of thing. Kind of like wedge it in, and put this back. And this will also help to keep it in place as well. I usually don't roll the windows up all the way because they do kind of hit this and it makes me a little nervous. It's probably fine, but I usually don't roll the windows up. Same thing on this side, kind of guide it back into place, and then put your top layer back where it was, and it'll kind of hold the interior trim, we'll call it, we'll hold it in place a little bit. You can just kind of rest it on top, and like I said, don't roll the window all the way up. You can roll it up some. And that's it. So that takes care of that. Again, like, comment, subscribe. There's going to be a lot more videos on the Tesla coming. There's a whole series that's going to go over how to take off all the rest of this as well. So hope you enjoy.